You land at the airport. Everything looks normal. Then it hits you. Not loud, not dramatic, just a feeling. Like gravity is slightly different here. Most people call it culture shock. But that word is too small for what this is. Japan doesn't just feel foreign, it feels like a different version of what humans could have become. And by the end of this, you will never see your own life the same way again. You step off the train in Tokyo, 37 million people around you, and you hear almost nothing. Not quiet like an empty room, quiet like everyone made a silent agreement. No horns, no shouting, no one on a loud phone call. A crowd of thousands moves past you, like water, smooth, deliberate. Back home, noise means life. People honk to feel powerful. They talk loud to be seen. Here, silence is the loudest thing in the room. It says, "I see you, and I respect you enough not to invade your space." That one unspoken rule holds 37 million people together. Let that settle for a second. But here is where it gets strange. Japan has 5 million vending machines. One for every 25 people. You've seen vending machines. This is not that. Hot ramen at midnight. Fresh flowers for your commute. A warm can of sake at 3 a.m. Umbrellas the exact moment clouds roll in. This isn't convenience, it is anticipation. Japan didn't wait for you to need something, it already placed the solution on your route. That is a society that thought about you before you arrived. Unsettling? A little. Impressive? Completely. And that same philosophy lives inside every convenience store. Walk in, buy a rice ball. Watch what happens next. The cashier folds the bag, 3 folds, precise, tucks the receipt inside, rotates the bag so the opening faces you, a small bow. No tip expected, no praise needed. They do it because the work itself demands it. The Japanese call this Omotenashi. It has no perfect English translation. The closest is, serve without being asked, without expecting anything back. No performance, no agenda. That idea alone could dismantle everything you believe about work. At first, it all feels perfect. Then slowly, quietly, it starts to feel unnatural, like a world with no rough edges. And you realize, you have never seen that before, and something about it unsettles you. Now stop. Because what I'm about to tell you, most travel videos skip entirely. Japan looks like a utopia from the outside. Spotless streets, near zero crime, trains that apologize for being seconds late. But perfection has a price, and Japan pays it quietly. There is a word, karoshi. It means death from overwork. Not burnout, not exhaustion, death. People have died sitting at their desks, never leaving before the boss leaves. Skipping vacation because taking it feels selfish. Working through sickness because stopping feels like failure. The same silence you found peaceful on that train? It also hides what people never say out loud. The same discipline that folds your bag with precision? It also keeps people trapped inside systems they can't question. Japan's beauty and Japan's burden come from the exact same place. That is the thing most people come home without understanding. Here is a story that will stay with you. In 2018, a train in Japan departed 20 seconds early. 20 seconds. The company issued a formal written apology, not automated, not brief, a full statement, public, humbling. In most countries, a 5-minute delay gets a shrug. Here, 20 seconds early is a failure worthy of national acknowledgement. Think about the last time anything in your life met that standard. Your phone, your service, your government. Japan doesn't aim for acceptable. It treats imperfection like a wound that needs tending. That is not obsession. That is a different relationship with responsibility. But Japan doesn't just change how people work, it changes why they live. Now picture an 83-year-old woman. She opens her flower shop before sunrise. Nobody asked her to keep working. She has grandchildren, she could rest, but she is there, arranging stems, humming quietly. Japan is one of the oldest societies on Earth right now. Nearly a third of the population is over 65. But the elderly don't vanish here. They don't get put aside. They have a word for why, Ikigai. Roughly, the reason you get out of bed. Not your career, not your income, your reason. Japanese people don't retire from purpose. They hold it until their last day, and research keeps confirming something remarkable. The people who lived the longest here are the ones who never lost their reason. That is not a coincidence. That is a blueprint. One more thing that will genuinely throw you. Japan has gift-giving rules so detailed they are never written down. You just know, or you don't. Never give 4 of anything. The word for 4 sounds like the word for death. Never give white flowers to a living person. White belongs to funerals. Never open a gift in front of the person who gave it. It might make them feel small if it's modest, but you cannot refuse a gift either. Refusing is an insult to the giver's intention. So you hold it. You bow. You open it alone. Later, in private. Every object carries a history. Every gesture carries weight. You could live in Japan for 5 years and still accidentally wound someone without knowing. That is not a flaw. That is a depth that most modern cultures traded away for convenience. And this is the moment you realize something. You are the outsider here, not because you did anything wrong, but because you were never taught this language. The language of gesture, of restraint, of meaning inside small things. There is a forest at the foot of Mount Fuji, Aokigahara. They call it the Sea of Trees, ancient, black-barked, so dense the sky disappears. Compasses stop working there. You can be lost within minutes. The Japanese believe something lives inside those trees. Not an animal, something older. A Yūrei, a spirit tied to a place by unfinished emotion, grief that never found its way out. Japan never fully releases its past. The samurai are gone, but their code breathes inside how a cashier folds your bag. Ancient temples crumble at the edges, but someone is always there at dawn, washing the steps. The old gods are mostly silent now, but no one builds over a shrine, not ever. You fly home. You land. Everything looks familiar, but something is wrong. Or maybe something is finally right. You notice the noise now. You notice how no one makes room. How a cashier slides your change across the counter without looking up. How everyone is rushing and nobody seems to know where. Japan didn't give you culture shock. It gave you a mirror. And in that mirror, you see something uncomfortable. That the way you live is not the only way. That silence can be generous. That service can be sacred. That a reason to wake up matters more than a reason to get paid.